Alright, what is up, nerds and nerdizzles, and welcome to the channel. It's your boy, and I want to talk a little bit today about one of my favorite heroes ever, Kel'Thuzad. And I'm not muted. Had too many of those, we're not doing that again. So, why am I talking about Kel'Thuzad today? I want to talk about Kel'Thuzad because I think that Kel'Thuzad is another one of these heroes in this game that is criminally underrated. Kel'Thuzad is, I would argue, one of the most satisfying mages in the game to play, although he is nowhere near as good as Kel'Thuzad or Lich. I'm going to put that out there up front, right off the bat. The reason for it is simple. When you look at almost any mage in the game, they have some kind of way to get out of a bad situation. The only other example of one that can't would be Gul'dan. He doesn't have that access until 20, but he still has it. So if you look at like Lich, she's got her blink, she can get away pretty consistently, and it's baseline. You look at Chromie, she's got time traps, and she can get timeout or gnome speed ahead or any kind of ability that she really wants to use in a team fight situation or whatever to help her get out of a bad spot. You have Kel'Thuzad, who has Gravity Well. You have Jaina, who has Ice Block. You have Gul'dan at 20, who has his little teleport button that he can hit and just GTFO. So, if you don't like having a character that has no escapes, don't play Kel'Thuzad, because you're really not going to have any escapes. I know people are going to say, well, at 20 you can pick up Shifting Malice. Sure, as an escape tool, kind of, but the rest of these escape tools are much better. They're a lot more consistent. Shifting Malice is meh, and on top of that, it's on a 240-second cooldown. It's a 4-minute cooldown until you get a pick. It's not that good. So in more cases than not, you are literally banking exactly on one thing and one thing only, and that is your raw skill to not die, or your team peeling for you, because, you know, that's a thing too. So let me go ahead and start by saying this. Do not play Kel'Thuzad if you need one of those things in order to play a mage effectively, because you're not going to play it very effectively. Don't play this hero if you don't like getting dove on, because guess what? You are a #1 priority pick for the enemy team. The second they see you, they're going to jump on your ass so fast. Like, imagine being bent over on a shady corner with your bare bottom exposed. You're going to get jumped on insanely fast. Like, super duper fast by the enemy team every single time they see you. Do not play this hero if you do not like complex mechanics, because this is a very big brain IQ kind of hero. Do not play this hero if you want big poggy and chat, which I'm cringing that I even said that. I don't know why I said that. But if you're looking for like big boy plays where you like wipe the entire team by yourself, you can do it, but it's a lot more even bigger brain IQ plays, and more times than not, you aren't going to be able to do it effectively. You're not going to be a Lich Min where you can just pop off and the entire team dies because you get your resets. However, if you want to play a hero that is bar none the most satisfying to use, is one of the coolest to use. I know that's not a good excuse, but he is motherfucking Kel'Thuzad, so of course he's super cool. If you want bar none one of the best mages for crowd control if you're not getting jumped on. If you want a mage that has some of the best scaling in the game until post 22 or 23. It's 22 or 23, I think it is, where he starts to fall off a little bit. This hero is for you. This hero is very much for you. Kel'Thuzad, on a mechanical level, I believe is the best mage in the game. He is definitely one of the more underrated mages in the game, definitely one of the ones you have to build around, but he is so damn fun. So damn fun to use. So let's talk about him real quickly. What does this big boy have? Well, first and foremost, if I can get him centered to the screen, and I cannot pull my mouse off the screen here, Master of the Cold Dark is his baseline quest. The way it works, every time you hit an enemy hero with an E, or use your E on a second target, or land your W in the center on a target, every time you do that, you gain a stack of Master of the Cold Dark. When you hit 15, which I'm going to try and do really quickly here without actually getting the full quest completed. So that's what, 7. Just going to post a 10.
I love it. When a plan comes together.
Give it a second longer. I apologize. This is not going to be quick. But basically, when you get to 15, you unlock a new ability. It is called the Glacial Spike. The way this ability works is pretty simple. Normally speaking, when you throw your Chains of Kel'Thuzad out, which is a straight line skill shot that does damage, swirls chains around the target, and lets you launch it onto a second target, normally, whenever you're pulling two heroes together, you're going to pull them together exactly in the middle. Like, give it a second to reset.
By your word.
If it's going to reset. Like so. Pulls them together like that. There we go, they reset. Cool. Normally, it's going to pull those targets directly on top of the dead center of each other. So you fire it out, they end up right there. With the Master of the Cold Dark stacks at 15, you unlock Glacial Spike, which causes you to, if we can get this to hurry up, launch your chain at a spike. And if the target gets hit near the spike, they take damage. This kind of starts to be where your brain has to start doing the big brain IQ stuff, because you're going to be doing combos from hero to hero. You're going to be doing combos from hero to your spike. Sometimes you're going to hit two targets and then have to do extra steps after that to really get the combo going. But I think you get the point just a little bit here. This is a big brain hero. Now what happens when you complete the quest? Well, simple. You get 75% spell power. You outright just start hitting like a truck with all your abilities. Chaining, everything. Just every little step you do is going to start hitting even harder than you were doing before. So that's your trait. I've already shown off the E a little bit. I've already shown off the W a little bit. What's your Q do? Well, simple. You fire a straight line skill shot that takes a little bit of time to wind up. It does initial damage, and then it does sticking damage over time. So that's everything from the game baseline for Kel'Thuzad. That's everything that you get to start everything off. When you hit level 10, and you get your heroics,
choose a talent. Choose a talent.
You get access to two different heroics. The first one is Shadow Fisher. It's got a relatively moderate-sized cooldown of 16 seconds, but the big thing about it is that it is global. You can launch this anywhere. When you fire it, it's got a small delay, it hits the enemy hero, and then if you notice, I hit an enemy hero with it, so its cooldown is set to 1.5 seconds. So potentially, you can hit heroes with this and immediately cut the cooldown to 1.5 seconds. So in theory, this is one of the best talents to take for a heroic option for stopping people from channeling shit. So Dragonshire, when you know somebody's trying to get the dragon, just drop this. If they're trying to channel it, they're going to get interrupted. If they're trying to get a seed on Garden Terror, capture a tower on Towers of Doom, get a Raven's Mark in Cursed Hollow, whatever. This is what this is for. This is also potentially one of the best abilities to have for combo, because it lets you immediately set up and do a lot of damage. At level 10, I'm doing 3,000 damage. That is a good number of assassins in the game just dead. Just outright dead. And I'm not even picking optimal talents here at all. Like, I'm not picking the best ones to go with. I just grabbed what was there.
Choose a talent.
Picking talents over again, we've also got Frostblast.
Choose a talent.
This is like a reversed Pyroblast, or a reverse Meatball from Kel'Thuzad, the original KT. You fire and orbit somebody, it deals initial damage to the first target, and it does more damage to all targets around it, and as you can see there, it also rooted everybody for a total of 2 seconds. So this can be really good to help set up something for team fights, or good follow-up after like a mosh pit, or a taunt by Garrosh, or something like that. This is a way just to keep targets locked down even longer, so that way you can just hard CC them into the ground and blow them up. So any of those options are really good. That being said, in most cases,
choose a talent.
You're more than likely going to pick Shadow Fisher between the two. Speaking of talents, I'm going to run through his kit super fast here, and then we're going to get to some like big brain IQ stuff you should be doing. So let me set the level to 20 real quick, and then we'll take a walk over here.
Choose a talent.
Leisurely little floaty stroll, and go over everything. To keep this from being a 30-minute video, and just to keep it down to maybe a 15 to 20-minute video, I'm going to go through the talents lightning fast. Don't go Q-build. Q build is safe to go with if you're just learning Kel'Thuzad and you want to get into playing him a little bit. Fine. You can play it for a bit, get used to it, and then you're going to bump up to the big boy league, which is to use the combo build. If you're going Q build, it's going to look something like Plaguelands, Phylactery, Accelerated Decay, whatever you want here. Usually Frost Blast for CC so that your Qs do more damage. Icy Grasp, Arcane Echoes, and either Death Chill or Damage Turn. And the way it works is simple. You throw your shit down on the target, it does a ton of damage, and yeah, you can do a lot of damage, root a lot of people, do a lot of AoE shit. It's cool, but it's not nearly as effective as this next build, which is we're going to start off level 1 with Barbed Chains. Now, why do we do Barbed Chains over Blight Frost? Blight Frost does more damage to the targets hit by the center of your Frost Nova, but the thing is, that extra damage coming off of just that one ability alone is cute, and it keeps them rooted longer, but it's not nearly as helpful as Barbed Chains. Barbed Chains actually makes your E a potential killing move. So, for example, at level 20, we're doing, what, 159? After I take Barbed Chains, we're doing 159, so about 300, plus another, what, 37.5, so 310, so like 340, 350 damage. That's almost as much damage as our... Actually, no. That's more damage than any other ability we have at level 20 without stacks. So it's really good to take. And not only that, after you get the 30 Blight, now every time you hit targets with Chains of Kel'Thuzad, you cut their armor down by 10. That means that everything else you do and the rest of your team does adds up. That's why Barbed Chains is the play. I believe it's always the play because it is always the superior talent. Level 4 depends on the team composition, but more times than not you're going to go Phylactery of Kel'Thuzad. Phylactery is just nice and consistent and well-rounded. It gives you a free cheat death mechanic that you can always get back later the longer the game goes on. And it gives you healing mid-fight, which can help your healer out with not having to always spot you back up to full HP. Strip Shields is good if you're playing against Zarya, Tassadar, Diva to a degree with the new rework coming out. I know she's going to get like mini shields and stuff. Any hero that consistently gets a lot of shields with the stuff that they do, this is fantastic because it just cuts right through it like it's nothing. And you get... let me see. You get a shield every time your chains connects with a hero. So if you're able to consistently land your E on targets with like chain link or strip shields and stuff like that, you can eventually build it up to where you're getting a lot of shielding, the enemy team is losing their shields, and on top of that you can sustain a little bit better. But you have to land your combos in order for that to be effective, whereas Phylactery is a little bit more consistent and safer. If you're getting dived on a lot, if they have like a Muradin Sonya, take Armor of the Archlich because it slows everybody by 35%, deals a little bit of damage, and you get 50 physical armor, so it helps you live just a tiny bit longer and gives your team a little bit more of a chance to help you out. More times than not, though, like I said, if they're not diving you super hard in the early game to mid-game, take Phylactery. Phylactery just is so much better. It gives you a free revive, and it gives you health back. Like, it's so good. Phylactery is so good.
Choose a talent.
At 7, this is a no-brainer. You want Chilling Touch. I know people want to argue for Ice Cold because it helps you to combo more often in theory, and if you combine it with at level 13 Chain Link, you can technically get tons of cooldown time and like wombo combo junk and stuff like that going. It's not as consistent. And on top of that, even though it does more damage, because your spike only does about 100 damage, and this can make it maybe do 400, in my experience, targets are never stuck near the chain long enough for the spike to actually blow up and do the damage it needs to do, potentially. Chilling Touch makes your auto attacks start to cleave and slow, and they crit. It's just all around really good. Shadow Fisher, because it's the better combo ability. 13. There's arguments for each of these, but... okay, we'll start with Icy Grasp. Part of your W, I didn't explain very well, and I'll do a better job here, is there's 2 circles. Inner circle, when you hit it, freezes a target in place, or roots them in place. Outer W slows the target, causes them to have a slower walking speed, for 35% for 2.5 seconds. you always want to root them if you can, not only for your quest stacks, but also for combo potential, to get the full set of damage off. Increasing the slow is cute. It helps you to get potentially more W's off, but we're not really building around our W. If anything, we might be kind of building around our E, but not even that much. So ideally, you want to avoid W talents as much as you can, even at level 1. I know a lot of people want to say Blighted Frost is really good. I get why people say it's really good, because you're giving it more raw damage, but the overall damage gains from Barbed Chains is too good, so there's no reason to go into Ice Speed Grasp at all. Chains of Ice. This helps you if you are trying to combo more consistently. I personally take it all the time because I am a bit of a sharer Kel'Thuzad and need it. And this is a really good ability. Anybody hit by Chains of Kel'Thuzad and then gets hit by the stun, meaning either you get hit by the slow after the spike or whatever, you're slowed by 60%. So what does that mean? It means that it's a lot harder for you to get away from the W when it comes down. It's a lot harder to get away from the spike. It's a lot harder to get away from the enemy team, or from your team, I should say, jumping on that enemy player you just pulled back. It just makes comboing easier. It makes everything about the ability much easier and much more consistent. Definitely worth taking. And it combos with your other slows and stuff, so there you go. Chain Link can work, but it's not super good. And as far as I remember, we'll find out really fast right now. Ooh, I was outside the map. So, oh, toggle cooldowns, my bad. We're gonna reset real fast, but basically, what's it's supposed to do is, yeah, it cuts down the cooldown of Chains of Kel'Thuzad by a lot, which can be helpful. And if you combo that with Ice Cold, because you're really good and consistent at pulling somebody in to your spike or into other players and then getting the root off or whatever, in that case you could potentially have a good use for it, because then you're comboing with Glacial Spike and Chains of Kel'Thuzad a lot more consistently. But it's not that often. Doing a full CDR build to me does not feel as effective as if I were doing just more raw damage in general. 16. Arcane Echoes can kind of do some damage, because the way you're setting up for your finisher is you are going like this and then landing the root, and D&D is stacking up damage. But the thing is, they've done stat checking on a few different websites, I believe, and Hungering Cold actually stacks faster. So you're doing, at level 20, 134 damage a tick. Well, you're actually doing 134 damage a tick, and you're getting an extra 90 damage per tick of D&D, including the initial hit from D&D, including the auto attack from your talent at 7, Chilling Touch. It adds up to do a shite load of damage overall and makes this a better ability. Power of Icecrown can add up really well on top of the 75% spell power that you're doing. It can be good, but the thing is that your burst on it doesn't last very long. So unless you're going like a full CDR build Kel'Thuzad, which I don't think there's anything like that out there, but if there was, I could kind of see it. Unless you're going like full CDR build Kel'Thuzad, you're not going to get enough stacks out of this for it to really be worthwhile. The max you can get is 5 stacks, so you can get 30% spell power for 10 seconds. It's not going to really last long enough for you to get the full duration out of Power of Icecrown, on top of all your abilities taking a while to go anyway. D&D is a really small cooldown, so I can kind of see that. Frost Nova takes a bit longer. Chains is your longest, so if you can get the CDR on Chain Link and you can get the CDR on Ice Cold, maybe. But for the most part, you're not going to get enough out of this, honestly speaking, for it to be super effective. So
choose a talent. Choose a talent.
We're going to go
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Hungering Cold.
Choose a talent.
Now, 20, there's a bit of debate around this, but the most consistent consensus is you want to go, hey, we're about to hit the 20-minute mark. Cool. You're going to want to go Damn Return. Reason why is because you can summon Second Shade. That's possibly 2 D&Ds hitting a target simultaneously, and guess what? That also powers with Hungering Cold. This means that you're going to be able to do much more consistent damage with Hungering Cold over the Arcane Echoes ability. So you can throw out a bunch of D&Ds with this, but the thing is, you get more consistent raw damage with this overall in one pop. There is a case to be made for Might of the Scourge, because this means that you get free Shadow Fissures popping up a lot. The thing about Might of the Scourge that can be a little iffy is if you don't hit a target with the first Shadow Fissure, it doesn't do anything on the second one. You get no CDR, you get nothing. But in cases where an enemy team is getting clumped up a lot and hit by like mosh pits and things like that, then Might of the Scourge is a good viable option, because you can just start dropping Shadow Fissures all over the team, and it just starts popping up everywhere and doing tons of damage. So there is a case to be made for that. And it's also really good for delaying on like Towers of Doom, etc., 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 that I said before, for just regular old Shadow Fissure, because if you hit the hero the one time, you get a second one for free, and you can cast that second, or your recast of it, not the free one, but the normal recasting of it, you can cast it on a different target and get another Shadow Fissure to pop up over there, potentially jumping to another target. So it can be really good. Death Chill can also be really good, but the thing is that if you're going Death Chill, this is more of the D&D build, where you're doing Death and Decay, where you are trying to basically set it up so other people can do damage, and you're not really comboing much yourself. You're supporting the rest of your team with CC and stuff like that. Death Chill will cause targets to be slowed for 3 seconds. If they are killed anywhere in the 5-second period from the 2-second root to the 3-second slow that you get, if anybody dies anywhere, Frost Blast explodes again and damages everybody. And each time somebody dies, you get another explosion and another root and another slow. So it's sort of, Death Shield causes Frost Blast to, no pun intended here, snowball into potentially a super lethal comboing chain reaction. Sort of similar to how KT can have his little pyroblasts explode and like do damage to everybody, and then you get a big explosion. Similar concept here with KTZ for his heroic, and it can do a lot of damage with the right team composition. But overall, it's not that good, and more times than not, you're taking the damned return anyway if you're going Death and Decay build, because you're going to put your Shadow guy here, you have all these targets rooted, you're going to try and throw it onto multiple targets, and you're probably going to clip like this guy and this guy by doing this, and you'll get your full value that way. So more times than not, it doesn't get taken just because this is so competitive for the D&D build, and this is super competitive if you're doing Shadow Fissure as a target, although this is still the most competitive talent out there, I would argue. Finally, we've got Shifting Malice. Shifting Malice is your one escape tool that you have as Kel'Thuzad, and it's not a very good one. Let me show it off real quickly.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
So Shifting Malice causes you to dive that far.
A fateful choice.
It lets you potentially get away from a target. It gives you a semi-decent dash distance, kind of like a little mini Bolt of the Storm, and it deals damage in its path, and it resets every time you kill somebody. But if you die, it does nothing. And on top of that, if you don't get kills, it does nothing. So it's a 4-minute cooldown to escape a fight potentially once. Not very good, if I'm going to be honest here. If you feel like you're getting dove a lot and you've taken Armor of the Archlich and you still feel like you're getting jumped on, there might be a case for Shifting Malice, but I personally don't see it. Especially if you went phylactery. It sucks, but hey, if you got to get back up to stop somebody from channeling something with Shadow Fissure or to protect the core or whatever, you'll just recollect 12 regen globes. It's not that difficult to get 12 regen globes over a 20-25 minute game. It really isn't. So the thing is, with Kel'Thuzad, the whole reason why we go the way that we go with this specific build is that we are trying to maximize the amount of raw damage that we can do to a single target. It's a lot of setup and a lot of wombo combo-y stuff, but basically your setup is going to look like this. You're going to drop a damned return off to one side. You want this Q to hit the target from 2 different angles. If you drop it on top of yourself and then you miss one Q, there's a chance the damned return will also miss that Q. If you drop it to the side, there's a chance that at least one of the 2 Qs will hit the target. So you drop that. You're going to almost always want to hit your target with Chains of Kel'Thuzad first, drop the spike, and then after you have... Here, let's talk with the cooldowns. So, you're going to almost always want to start by hitting your target with the Chains of Kel'Thuzad, because the thing is, the chains have a pretty long reach, so you have a better chance of connecting with the target afterwards onto where you want it to go. Then you're going to want to drop your Glacial Spike after you've hit this target with Chains of Kel'Thuzad, so you can pull them into there. Then, what you're going to want to do... Kel'Thuzad, stop attacking. Stop my dude. After you've done that, is you're going to want to drop Frost Nova directly below where the target's going to be, or right between where 2 targets are getting chained together. You're then going to throw your Q, which your Damned Return will throw as well, and then you're going to drop your ultimate on the target. Ideally, your combo is going to look like this. Damned Return, E, Spike, W, E, Q, ult, and auto attack. And as you can see there, we did about almost 6,000 damage to a single target. That's the ideal setup. What more than likely will happen is if you're like me at all... Whoop. Let's fix that real quick. Pop. Oh, wait. You're more than likely going to do this. You're going to hit it like that instead. In which case, as you can see, we lost a little bit of damage because of the fact that the spike went off so late. Ideally, you want to go with E, Spike, W, E, and then it gets hit, and then you finish your combo out the rest of the way. The only thing is, I'm very bad with Kel'Thuzad, which is part of why I take some of the talents that I take, where we just basically go E, Spike, and do our thing. And I didn't even get Shadow Fisher off there, or my auto attack, so damage wasn't very good. Tips and tricks on how to use Kel'Thuzad. If you can, practice doing it the proper way. And you can get the full combo off doing that. That's the ideal way to do it. If you're bad at the game like me, drop a Damned Return. Oop. And make sure you do the full combo to connect.
That sounds logical.
Also, because you're throwing out a lot of abilities all at once, make sure you stand still just long enough to get that auto attack in, because that is something that people do and forget to do, like myself. Oop. And I actually caused it to happen twice. So let's talk cooldowns real quick. And we'll do the full setup and everything. So you go away. Yeah, see, basically 6,000 damage if we do it the proper way. As far as comboing people together properly, what we need to do then is stand turn, E, E, W, Q, and there you go. So we did almost 12,000 damage to 2 targets. That is why Kel'Thuzad is really good, because you can combo really effectively with it. As another tip, so the big thing, first of all, with that combo I just did is you need to remember that the target is almost always going to be... Let that come back. One thing to remember is that the target is always going to pull to the center. So when you do this, you want to pull them together and make sure you drop your W right between them. As far as setting up goes, you really, really, really want to try to drop your W between the targets first and then pull them. Always land your E first on the target, because then you can't start dropping W's and doing silly shenaniganry like that. But we go E first, W, E, and then Q. That's the ideal way you want to do your abilities, which I very badly messed up there. And you get almost guaranteed root after chain pull, after slow, auto attack to make sure you're getting that extra damage in. You always get the guaranteed Q initial hit and ticking damage on the target. It does a lot of work. If you need to poke at an enemy team, your Q actually goes really far, or your Damned Return sits up really far. It can also give you vision in bushes, as I'm about to demonstrate. You can actually put this thing in a bush, and it gives you vision. It also gives you extended poke, so let's say there's a team fight happening somewhere over here, and I can't get up there because I'm really low on HP, but I need to get a hit. Do that, and you're getting poke damage. Okay, throw out another cube. You can potentially get more poke damage. So use your damned return as a way to poke enemy heroes, and if you combo it with the phylactery of Kel'Thuzad, guess what? You're getting healing off that poke. Even if your Q doesn't connect, the damned return
By your word.
little undead shade does give you health back. Watch. We're gonna get hit real quick here. Hey boss. Hit me. Hit me. I'm not gonna get stunned, but I'll take a big hit. Alright. So now, if I set this up and I throw a Q at it, I missed there, but here. Just throw the shade up, throw the Q out. They die too quick. So the shade up, throw the Q out. I'm getting healed. Ah. Okay. Yeah, still getting healed. You get the point, though. Basically, if you need a way to poke and get health back from a safe distance, use a damned return, shade a Naxxramas thingy, and you'll get health back that way. Ideally, you want to get close enough that
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a
toggle
talent.
minions, reset forts. Ideally, you really want to be getting to the point where you hit both Qs on the target because they get you the health back the
Choose a
quickest.
talent. Choose a talent.
But regardless,
Choose a talent.
this is a
Choose
way
a
for you to
talent.
poke and get health back effectively. The number one thing that I can say about Kel'Thuzad above everything else, which I know I'm starting to push that 30... I did hit the 30-minute mark. Damn it. The number one thing I will say is this. Above everything else, with Kel'Thuzad, you need to practice. He's very much a build-around comp kind of hero, but at the same time, he is so damn good. So damn good. I highly recommend that you give him a try. Quick match might not be the best environment. If you've got friends or people you can play with, definitely practice with him there. Hell, go into try mode here. Go into AI games. Do whatever. Practice with him. But above everything else, if there's anything you're going to take away from this video, number one, connect your E. That sets up everything else that you do. That's the biggest thing I can tell you about his base abilities. Biggest thing overall, number one biggest thing overall, finish this goddamn quest. Above everything else, finish the quest. The quicker you get this done, the quicker you start wombo combo killing people. That's about it. Be patient with him. Practice with him. You'll see good results. I love Kel'Thuzad. I hope other people start playing him and enjoy him too. That's all I'm going to say for this video. Peace.